Show you how to do your assignment. This is going to be your first real sewing assignment with thread. You'll watch the videos on how to thread the machine and how to thread the bobbin. That should take care of any of those questions. So let's talk about pivoting, because that's what you're going to do on here. The fabric that I'm going to give you is going to be a form of a gingham, either this design or another. And we're going to make kind of like a spiral, but we're going to do it with squares. You'll see. Make sure to keep yourself in the proper position with the back behind you and sitting up straight. Your foot pedals on the floor and you're ready to go. When we're sewing, we're going to start right here where it says 5/8. Line the fabric up there, edge on the edge of the fabric. Gently release your lever. Then we're going to hold the threads for the first couple of stitches. Stop. Then what we want to do is called an anchor stitch. We're going to push this button right here. See the one that has, it looks kind of like a U with an arrow right there? Right there. We're going to push that, and when we do, that allows the fabric to go back however many stitches that we press it for. Then we're ready to go forward again. So we're going to follow that 5/8. We're going to come down here. Remember not to get a speeding ticket when you're sewing. It's not about how fast you sew, about how correctly, how straight and even your stitches are. So now I'm ready to pivot. I'm ready to change 1/4. So I'm going to lift the lever. I'm going to take it 1/4, and it should line up. Ooh, make sure that needle's in the fabric. Okay, then put your presser foot back down. And when I get down here, when I get done, you'll see where I just made that mistake. Make sure to keep a nice even stitch and straight line. I'm going to come down here, and guys, really I gauge where to take it, because right here where the plate is, I want the fabric to be just about there. But now see, this is where I made my mistake last time. I didn't have that needle down in the fabric, so I'm going to use the hand wheel towards me. Now see, the needle is in the fabric. This is good. Then lift my lever, turn 1/4 turn. That allows me to get pretty much back there on that 5/8 line. So now I want to continue on. Do not feel that you have to sew this fast. I'm doing this pretty much for your benefit so that I can show you the design that I want you to make. Presser foot is still down, needle is in the fabric. I rolled it towards me, lift the presser foot, turn it 1/4. We're just about ready to start making that design. Nice even stitches. Okay, now look, when we're coming up here, I can see my stitches are right here. So to start my design, I'm going to bring that hand wheel towards me, get the needle in there, lift and turn. Now we are not matching that stitch, the line that we did first. So now what I'm going to do, how am I going to guide it? Well, I'm going to look at this line here and follow that. That's why we're using lined fabric to help you. So I'm going to come down here. This is a thin fabric, so it may shift on you. So it may make it easier if you are using slow stitches. Bring the needle in the fabric, lift, turn. We should always keep our fingers out of the way. Remember the story that I told you about when I was sewing over that pin that I put in, and I still have the scar from it today. So be careful with how you press where you're putting your hands, where you're putting your face. That's why we need to sit up straight. I hope that you're kind of getting this pivoting thing. That's what this assignment is to help you to learn how to pivot and how to get the straight lines with the thread. I know it's so much harder with the thread. You did really good when you were sewing on the paper, and I know you can do as well once you've had some practice. Please remember, I've been doing this for so many years, probably longer than your parents have been alive. So I have that down in there. And Destiny picked out pink and white thread for us today. That's going to help us to be able to see where our stitches are. This is not about creating anything specific like the pillows or bags that you'll be doing in the future, but it is about learning your skill. You didn't learn how to read in one day, you're not going to learn how to sew in one day. So we're going to turn it around. I'm using that line. See how I'm letting the machine do the work for me? I'm not working it. We bought the machines to work for you, not for you to work for the machine. So you allow the machine to bring it through. See, there's the little things, that the little feed down here, and that's what's feeding your fabric through. So we're gonna keep doing this. I'm using that line right now. What the important thing is, I'm not gonna grade you on how similar the lines are in distance. I'm looking for how straight and how good your pivoting is. Needles in, levers up, turn. This time I'm going to use this line right here. I do not want to see lines that are circles. I do not want to see squiggly lines. I don't want to see uneven stitches. I'm looking for nice uniformity, sharp pivoting. This is a test grade because by this point you should have the basic skills. Now, you're not going to be perfect when you start. That's okay. And we do have more fabric for you to use. But don't sew one line and then say, oh, it's terrible, and throw it away. No. Master your art and then turn in your test. When we sew, we want to keep a pretty even speed because the speed helps to keep the stitches even. So you can see down here on the bottom, the white, that's your bobbin thread. See how all uniform it is? And then up here on top, that's your pink thread, that's from your spool. And see, when we were talking in class, you can pretty much let it go and not even hold it. But don't sleep at the machine. You know who I'm talking to. And I want to get it like that. Now I know some of you are just going to fast forward to the end to see what the end of it's supposed to look like. And I mean, what am I going to do? Send you to the video police? No. I am, as long as your product turns out good, uniform, and ooh, look, I'm really happy with that right there. Look at how that looks. I want you to create a nice, clean product. We're gonna be making items for people who desperately need your help. I'm gonna do that a couple more stitches here. That need your help, need the products that you're gonna be making for them. We want to give them pride and dignity, not, oh, well, they're homeless or they don't have families, it doesn't really matter, nobody likes them anyway. That's not what that's about. It's about giving them self-worth, and we want to do our very best product for them. And I hope that you feel better about yourself when you're done with this activity as well. A lot of people, when we start sewing, they're sewing on the paper and they're like, woohoo, this is easy, and away they go. And then once we get to the thread, it's a little bit more challenging. I'm not going to lie to you, it is more challenging. But this is where you're able to show your real skill. This activity, I'm giving you the rest of the week to finish this. because I know that it probably looks easy when I'm doing it, but remember, I've been doing it a long time. It's going to take you a little bit longer to create a high quality product. And it's, again, I'm going to say, it's not about getting it done first, it's about getting it done best. Can you kind of see the design that's showing up? And the pivoting, it just becomes second nature. It allows for a nice crisp corner, and when we're doing it, it's a skill that you'll use on everything you do. We're making these bean bags that look like this, and then we'll put inside them, we'll stick rice in there or beans, and then we'll hand stitch those closed. But see, on this, I've anchored the stitch, and pivoted at the corners. This is all, it's basic. You've got to know how to do this skill. Okay, I'm gonna make this a little bit wider. Do not make yours as wide as I'm gonna be making this, because I'm gonna be looking for your uniformity. But I want you to see how I want you to end it. My first high school sewing teacher, her name was Mrs. Babcock, Mary Jo Babcock, and she used to say, stop laughing about the name, she used to say the product should look as good on the inside as on the outside. You should be able to wear the garment inside out and nobody see your faults. And does it really make a lot of difference? Are you going to wear your clothes inside out? Well, not unless you're a rapper. But I want you to have a product that you're proud of and not afraid that somebody's going to turn it inside out. And see, as you get towards the center, it gets easier because it's smaller. Don't get dizzy. And you can actually use this technique if you're doing like a quilt, to quilt the different parts together, the batting and the fabric, and it'll add another design to it. And if we have time, we'll make some Christmas gifts that you're able to give away to people, or holiday gifts, whenever you may be watching this. We're almost there, guys. Hold on. Oh gosh, that scared me there for a minute. I thought that I had gotten thread caught. Remember, don't be quick. I say that as I am rushing through this. Okay, we're almost there. Ooh, are you excited? I should put little things while I'm sewing so that I know that you've watched the whole video. Like, what is Mrs. Hassan's favorite holiday? Halloween. Which holiday does she dread the most? Christmas. It's too much work. Oh, it's so small. Holy cow. I know you're waiting with bated breath. What does that saying mean? What does bated breath mean? Don't you bait a fishing pole? Do you want to have fish breath? Not sure. I'm kind of confused. confused about that. Gonna have to Google that later. Okay, I think we're right there. Okay, so now I am to the center. So what do I do now? We're gonna anchor that stitch again, because as our fabric is moving through here and our threads coming from this way and our bobbins coming and they're connecting like this every time, right? But there's nothing that's like knotted it. When you hand sew, you knot the end of the thread, right? So let's knot that thread here. So I'm gonna push that reverse button, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, something like that. And then I come up again. And if you're really scared, go ahead, you can do it one more time. Don't do it too many times though, because if you do, you'll get a knot in the fabric and then you won't be able to pull it off. So now I'm gonna pull up the presser, or the lever here. I'm gonna pull the fabric out. Now, you know this is a knife here, and you know there's several different knives on the machine. So what you can do is you can bring it up through here like this, and that'll cut your fabric. Now, do you see what I've done? We started right here and we anchored it. We sewed around, making kind of like a maze all the way in until we get right here at the end. Now, if this was a real product, we would not want this thread at the top. There's a few different things you can do. If you've got a seam ripper, bring them both to the bottom. That's really the best thing to do. But over here, let's say that I have already brought that to the bottom. I'm gonna take the two threads and I'm gonna knot them where they're not gonna be seen. So on the inside of the product. And Mrs. Babcock always told us to knot everything 3 times. And when we asked her why, she was a good Catholic woman. And she said, because you do it for God, you do it for Jesus, and you do it for the Holy Ghost. And we were like, oh, okay. I think it's just to anchor it and keep it secure. Then, cut your threads. Do not throw them on the floor. Make sure to put them on the side and then put them in the bin. Do the same thing over here, but you're going to use your seam ripper to pull that to the bottom and then knot it. Have fun.